Hello, family, friends, acquaintances, and who knows, maybe even a few strangers. You never know who all this video may reach. My name is Jenny Gallagher, and I am 48 years old, and I'll be honest, this is my first time to do a video. So I realize it possibly could stink, and if it does, I'm happy to accept constructive feedback. And hopefully as I go along, these will get a little bit better. The reason I'm doing the video, or if you've just come across it, is because 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 metastatic colon cancer. And I was ready to start the video a week ago, and it's crazy how much has already changed even in this past week. So I'm gonna just try to be real and share my journey so that friends and family and people that are curious to know what's going on with me will know without, feeling like they, have to ask or don't want to ask or don't know what's appropriate to ask. So forgive me for all the flaws in this, but I'm just going to talk to you and do my best. So 2 weeks ago on July 19th, I had my follow-up because, to give a little background information, in 2017, May of 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 2 colon cancer. And at the time, I had a colon resection and I had 12 inches of my colon removed. And they took out 16 lymph nodes and tested all those lymph nodes, and at the time all of those showed to be negative, which was fantastic because it didn't look as if the cancer had gotten out and had spread beyond my colon. So because I was stage 2 and none of the lymph nodes were positive, it was not recommended that I do chemotherapy. And if one lymph node had been positive, it would have been recommended for chemotherapy would have been recommended. But with none, it just was like, let's just scan me periodically and watch me and make sure it doesn't reoccur. So these last 2 years, I've been routinely going in for my CAT scans and doing my blood work and visiting with the oncologist and making sure everything looked good. And it has been. So this past spring in April, when I was going in for my checkup, I was thinking I was about to be in the home stretch. I was done because they had said if I made it 2 years with no reoccurrence, then I could be considered, cancer free. So I thought I was going to get you did it, you're great, you don't have to worry, and all is good. But when I went in April, they saw something that didn't look good, looked suspicious. So sent me for further testing and had that done pretty quickly. And at the time sent me to a surgeon, another oncologist that operates. And he met with us and told us, again, wasn't definitive that it definitely was cancer, because normally colon cancer, when it spreads, 90% of the time, it goes to the liver or the lungs. So, they've been watching everything, but specifically the liver and the lungs. Well, this wasn't the liver or the lungs. This was actually a lymph node. And it just so happened to be a lymph node that was in the gastric area. So basically, if you get an upset stomach, your lymph node could swell because it's trying to fight that infection. So since it was so small and just barely lighting up, it wasn't a clear indicator that it definitely was cancer. Also, my blood work was perfect. It was actually better than it had ever been. My liver looked great, my lungs looked great, and I felt fine. So, send me for additional testing, and actually at that point in time said, let's wait 3 months. Let's wait 3 more months and let's see, because obviously if it is cancer, it's going to continue to grow, and if it's just inflammation, it can go away. So from April to July of this year, that's what my family and I, we've been focused on. We've been thinking it's inflammation, try to do a little bit better with my food, and, go back this summer, get scanned, and everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. So, 2 weeks ago, go in, and it's not fine. It is definitely cancer. It is in a lymph node. The lymph node is actually sitting on my spine, so it's not in a great location for surgery. And it's very, very small. So you'd think, oh, small, great. Well, the downside of being small is that the surgeon equates it to finding a needle in a haystack. So the small is good in the sense that it hasn't taken over my whole body, but small is bad in the sense of it's going to be very difficult for him to find. So in these last 2 weeks, my treatment plan has actually changed a few different times. So initially, because the difficulty of the surgery and there being no guarantee that the surgeon can get to it because it's in a very tough spot, he had suggested chemo. And I went and I met with my oncologist, that would be the one administering chemo, and I basically spent the next 7 to 10 days researching, learning, reading everything I could to be prepared for what I was about to experience with chemo. Then I had my follow-up appointment. It was actually my appointment this week just to teach me about chemo. It was like a chemo 101 class, so it was very helpful and tell us everything that we could expect for what I was about to go through with chemo. But while I was there, my doctor came in and said that the surgeon had called her and told her that he couldn't get me off his mind. He'd already sent me to the tumor board. Back up. He'd already sent me for chemo, but apparently he continued to think about me, and he decided he wanted to send my case to the tumor board, which is a group of 20 physicians that review the cases and collectively together discuss what they believe the best protocol and should be for treatment. So I just believe that was a God thing. I believe, the fact that he could have been just done with me and I could have been starting chemo, but he decided, no, I need, 20 other people to take a look at this and see if they agree with me or if they think I should go in and try to get it surgically first. So I waited a day for him to take it to the tumor board, and then he was nice enough to call me this week and tell me that it was, pretty unanimous from the tumor board that they think he definitely should try to go get it surgically first before chemo. Obviously, he recognizes and has already explained to me that it is going to be potentially a very difficult procedure to get, and there's no guarantees. He's of course one of the best here in Dallas, but I'm a little bit difficult case with this procedure. So, but the reason for not doing chemo first is because chemo could possibly shrink it, which we'd hope it would. We'd actually hope it would eradicate it, take it away. But if it just shrinks it but doesn't take it away, well, then it makes it even smaller for the doctor to find during surgery. And because it's in one lymph node, it's basically susceptible to just spreading throughout all of my body. So that was a lot, I know. And what I was wanting to do today was just kind of do the beginning and then do this weekly to kind of update. But so much has happened with me thinking I was having chemo and telling everyone that I was about to start chemo, and then now it's switching and I'm actually having surgery. So I'm going to end this one, and I'll start my second video to update you on what all else has happened this week in regards to getting my port put in. because I actually had a chemo port put in because it was already scheduled before we knew when I was going into surgery. And I had that put in this week as well. And then I've now had complications and problems from that. So I just want to make that another video in case you're like, I'm done, off, don't need to listen to anymore. But if you want to follow along, if you want to send positive energy, if you want to send prayers to me and my family, we would greatly appreciate it. I believe, this is going to be a little bit of a difficult fight, but it's not one that I can't handle. It's not one that I'm not prepared for. And I'm just ready to be on the other side of it. So if you choose to follow along on my journey, I hope you will, and that if you have not had a colonoscopy and you are 45 years of age or older, I hope that I can encourage you to go get one. I was 46 when I was diagnosed with cancer, and they told me it had been growing in my body for 8 to 10 years, and I did not have any symptoms prior to the couple of months that I had symptoms before I went to the doctor. So pretty scary to think it could be growing for that long and not have any symptoms and not know about it. So save your own life. Get yourself a colonoscopy, because it truly can save your life. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Let's kick cancers